tell you from the, thank you. So briefly to tell you, these four quadrants represent our self-awareness. According to the Freudian theory, where we talk of the unconscious or the subconscious from the layman's term, these three areas, that is, I know I don't know, no one knows, and others know about me, contribute to about 92% of who I am. And only 8% of I know about me and the world is aware to me. So everybody who feels that they know about themselves know only probably 8%. If we are good listeners and we take feedback from others very easily, then these people are in the quadrant of others know about me and my world, and some part of me knows that I don't know. So no matter how aware we are aware up to 12% of who we are. The remaining 82% of us is in the unknown or the unconscious. And the whole journey of these talks is going to be exploring this unknown and the different modalities that we use in this unknown. Tushar, may I have the next slide, please?
Yes.
Oops. So yes, we also spoke last time about the Maslow's triangle. Most of us understand and know the Maslow's triangle. At the very basic level, we have physiological needs which contribute to food, air, water, sex. We are not, and these are actual survival threats. These are actual threats to my survival. If I don't have them, then I'm going to be threatened about my survival. Then comes my safety needs, where I'm looking at shelter, medical security. These come from the fear of me not surviving. Then comes love and belongingness, where I want a partner, I want a family, I want relatives, social circles, belongingness through association. Love and belonging comes through associating with my social world. Then comes self-esteem, which is I want a big car, a big house, I want celebrations. These come from my deservability, what I feel I deserve. These come from self-esteem needs. Then after self-esteem needs come cognitive needs. That means I want to grow in my knowledge. I want people to acknowledge me. I want people to know how knowledgeable I am. I want people, when I have equals, when I have people who are equal to me in their socio-economic statuses, then I want people to slowly know that I'm also very knowledgeable. So I go on into gaining knowledge from people. Then comes aesthetic, that means beauty, need to look good, feel good. We have candles, we decorate our houses, we have expensive paintings in our house. Then we want to eat organic food, then we want to eat vegan food, then we suddenly become vegetarians if we are non-vegetarians, and then sattvic food. All of these concepts come into play. Then I'm looking at higher vibrating energies. And of course, then comes self-actualization, which is the desire to acknowledge and recognize the spiritual aspects of me and the haunting question of who am I. And of course, finally, the transcendence stage, which rarely people, very, very rarely, it's like 0.0000001% people reach these stages where they are evolved. Last time, Pratik had a question about this transcendence stage, and we had to close the session. Pratik, would you want to? I did call him up and answer his question. Pratik, do you want to reiterate that question and tell us the answer for that question also? We can't hear you.
More specific, why? Okay.
Hmm.
So more specifically, my question was, I think you had mentioned something like a person who has achieved transcendence,
Hmm.
right? At that time, so okay, my question was if a person has achieved transcendence and a tiger shows up, suppose an aggressive tiger shows up, won't their safety and physiological needs suddenly not be threatened?
Hmm.
Wouldn't they kind of regress down the line? So
Okay.
the answer to that was, so if you are transcendent, I guess then death itself doesn't really phase you all that much. So you will continue to be whole and complete at the transcendent stage. Or what could happen is you regress back to depending on how centered you regress back to those safety needs.
No, one, if a person has transcended and has moved higher up, then death is not a fear for him anymore, because he knows that if I die, there is another thing that I'm looking forward to. There is something beyond death that I'm looking forward to. So that is what a person will do. So he will not want to outrun the tiger. He will just sit there, and maybe the tiger and he can be friends, and they both can sit together and meditate. Two, if the tiger is not hungry, he will not hunt down this man. The fear comes from a preempted fear that the tiger will kill me and eat me, or I will die. Please understand, no animal in the animal kingdom hunts for recreation. Most of them hunt for food. And therefore, if the tiger is hungry and if I have to become a meal to the tiger, so must it be. Becomes the thought of a person who has transcended, and therefore there is no fear of the tiger, and therefore there is no need or no fear of safety or physiological need to survive. Does that make sense to everybody? Anyone who has a question about the Maslow's triangle? Anyone who would like to question the Maslow's triangle? Anybody who would want to know anything more about the Maslow's triangle? I had asked you all to reflect and see which of these needs has become primary, or what is your survival motive, because this triangle helps you to survive. The question or the homework was to ask yourselves or to reflect with yourselves, what is my need that I'm looking at for survival? Okay. Now, to even understand these needs or to understand where we are coming from, we need to understand how we develop and what aspect of us grows. So, Tushar, maybe have the next slide, please. Okay, so now we are talking of psychosocial stages of development. When we develop, when we are growing up, there was a lovely person by the name of Erickson, a psychologist, and he was a psychodynamic psychologist. So these are people who acknowledge that the belief systems we pick up and who we become is decided before our personality crystallizes. And there are different virtues that we begin to pick up as we grow. So the psychosocial stages of development, when I'm 0 to 2 years of age, there is trust versus mistrust. If you see a 2 year old, up to 2 years old, every child is actually experiencing the world with their senses. They are listening to sounds, they are putting everything in the mouth, and they want to explore these aspects. Then they are trying to smell, they try to put everything in there. Have you seen small children put beads in their nose, if it's possible? They want to put everything in their ears. They want to experiment with sensations. They start to scratch themselves, and they scratch others also without realizing the pain that it feels to others. So what happens is, if they grow healthily between 0 to 2 without having the fear of being shouted at, or if they don't suffer trauma, then 0 to 2 years is an age where a child will develop hope. Most of us who believe life is hopeless have a trauma associated with them in the year 0 to 2. If we have anybody around us who keeps saying आयुष्यात जगायचं काही महत्वच नाही, there's no importance of life, I mean क्यों जीने का क्या point है, they are people who hold on to hopelessness, and they had trauma during the age of 0 to 2. Then when you grow up between 2 to 3 or 2 to 4, we are teaching children to defecate, and there are accidents in this time. The child, although nowadays today we have diapers, but don't we actually put a child on a toilet seat, and it's a huge ritual. Potty kar re baba, this one, we are entertaining them, we are trying to get them to discipline in potty training. Now, here the child is struggling between whether I should become autonomous or whether I will be put to shame. So, if there are accidents that happen during the potty training and you shout at them, you scream at them, then their will, the virtue is will, which develops, that will slowly be destroyed. So people who don't take initiatives in life, people who wait to be told what is to be done, people who are afraid to take initiatives or are afraid that, oh, what will people think of me, what will people say of me, these are people who probably had a trauma during their age 2 to 4, because their will has not developed completely. This is the area where autonomy means I am independent, versus if I become independent, I will fail and I will be shamed, is what the child believes. And therefore, the concept of will or the virtue of will slowly not develop completely. Okay. Then, when we look at ages 4 to 6 or 4 to 7, all right, then if you see children are making some initiatives, they start playing games, they start playing individual games also, they start having imaginary games also. And this is an example that I told you all last time also, that when Utkarsha wanted, I asked him this question, what do you want to be when you grow up? No, I don't think I told you, did I? Yes or no? Please tell me if I'm repetitive. Huh?
Yes, yes, you've told me. I don't know whether you said it last class.
No, I don't think it was last class.
No,
Siddhant is
no,
saying
this
no.
this was not brought up last class. No.
Okay, thank you. So what happened is, when my son was young, every parent does a stupid thing of asking their children what do they want to be when they grow up. अरे उसको अभी अपना धोना नहीं आता, तुम क्या उसको पूछ रहे हो क्या करोगे बड़े होके? He doesn't even know, he or she doesn't even know the idea of what is growing up. So I asked him, I wasn't really as wise at that time, I was otherwise. And I asked him what would he do when he wanted to grow up. And he said, I want to become a butterfly. And what I did is I clipped his wings and I told him, no, no, you can't do this. How can you become a butterfly? You were born to be human. You have to do something that is human. Now, what I did is I did not allow his imagination to do what he truly wanted to do. Now, without even understanding why does he want to become a butterfly, what I did is I clipped his wings by asking him that you can't be a butterfly because you are human. You can't fly. Your life is not 1.5 days. You are living more than that. So therefore, my definition of butterfly was very different from his definition of butterfly. His definition of butterfly was, I am going to fly high. I am going to put my color, because when you catch a butterfly, if anybody has caught a butterfly, the butterfly leaves his color, her color on your fingers. It colors you with its colors. And that is what he was aspiring to do. And unfortunately, what I did was I destroyed his virtue of purpose. Not completely. Please understand that where one single trauma does not destroy the whole purpose, does not destroy the whole virtue. It destroys some part of it depending on the intensity of the drama and the trauma. So the purpose was that these people are afraid to take initiatives. They start to feel guilty when they make mistakes when they take initiatives. And this is also what we have experienced between 4 and 7. If we tried to do something and we were told, no, don't do this. This is not the thing to do. Stupid. Mulga ahes tu, you're a boy. Don't play with doll houses. Girl, you don't play with guns. In today's world, we allow girls to play with guns. But even today, we do not allow boys to play with dolls and with doll houses, because we believe that will make this boy effeminate. Do we agree? Do we disagree? Okay. So then we slowly move further to the age 7 to 11. Now, between the age of 7 to 11, a child is very, we start to give children projects. Okay, project karo. You start doing projects. When you do projects, you are expected that you will do something. Now, what we do as parents, we are making the projects for the child. We are not letting the child do the project. How many parents agree to this? That more, Preeti will agree. Preeti, when we give children projects, are the children completing the projects, or are the parents completing the
Yeah,
projects for?
absolutely. There are many inputs from parents. Sometimes parents, now they're sort of people outsourcing to get projects made.
Yes, yes,
So
and that is a very big industry.
yes,
In
absolutely.
fact, college going students and engineering students, they actually write thesis, they
Yeah,
actually make projects for students for money. And it's
correct.
their
Yeah.
pocket money. And it is such a big industry nowadays out there that, but then what am I teaching my child? I'm teaching inferiority to my child because I'm telling him, you cannot be industrious. We can buy industrious people, you are inferior. And because of this, what we are challenging amongst students or amongst children or even amongst ourselves is the competence of who we are or who we can be, what we can do and what we cannot. And this is happening between the age 7 to 11. Have you seen that in groups, when you put children in groups to work together for a project, often you will see that these are children that are there will be just one or two children who are leaders and who will take the whole project through, and the others are just waiting for instructions and saying, okay, tick mark, I am present, I am present, I am present. And the ones who are actually doing the projects are the ones who are struggling for that grade that they will get in the project, that they put their heart, soul, life into that project, right? So this is
Pallavi,
between,
can
yes,
I intervene?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
Preeti.
So tell me, if I have a group of students
Mm-hmm.
and there's one fellow who always aligns himself to all these intelligent girls who they know, he knows that they're very sincere, they'll do it right.
Mm.
Correct. And
Yes,
he very smartly decides to only bring the chart paper for the project every time and gets out. And
right.
what do you think this kind of a child is evolving into?
He is in this inferiority. He knows that he needs the grades, but he'll make an excellent business person. If you,
Exactly.
because then he knows exactly who to hire for his work. He doesn't have to use his brains, and he knows
Mm.
how to, he will provide the resource, and then he will turn around and say, now do this for me. He'll make an
Okay.
excellent business person.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I'm giving you
Oh,
an example of my own younger one.
okay. So then make sure that he becomes a business person.
Done. I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. Can we
Okay.
have the next slide, please?
One question here. Okay.
Yes.
So mainly the
Tushar,
film.
we can, 1 minute, we can
Hmm,
move the slide while I'm answering that question.
yeah.
Hmm.
So a lot of the times, don't you find that many of these things also get maybe messed up later in life?
They
Like
start, they
as
start,
children?
hold on.
Mhm.
The seed for that mess up has been sowed in that age.
Ah,
And then it starts to get complicated. If it was not sown in that stage, you won't have those issues and concerns. And everybody, please look at it. We are messed up in all age groups in some way or the
mm,
other. Okay? Is that okay, Pratik? Does that ring a lot of bells in your own head?
like a temple.
Okay, love it. Keep it going. The next thing that we are talking about is the age 12 to 9, that is pre-teens to teens. And when we are looking at pre-teens to teens, the child is looking at his identity versus role confusion. This also does not only come from sexual identity, because when we look at pre-teens to teens, we are assuming it is sexual identity. It is not coming from only sexual identity. It is also coming from how well am I accepted in a group, how much is the opposite gender, whoever, if I'm a girl, if a boy is looking at me, if I'm a boy, if a girl is looking at me, then that will define my identity and my self-worth. The self-worth being, oh, I am important enough, I'm good looking enough, I have a personality, and that raises the self-worth of the person. And that causes for this person to identify or create an identity, versus a role confusion where they don't understand where I associate. This is also a stage where parents play a very crucial role. It is about the mother not wanting to let her son grow up and the father fearing his daughter growing up. And then, he or she become extremely careful about who the child is associating with. And of course, we blame it on the socio-economic, the socio-cultural background in which we grow up. We are saying the world is not a safe place. You are still very young. You don't know what is good for you. You don't know how horrible the world is. These are the belief systems we are instilling in the child, also threatening his safety needs in this whole process, where we are challenging identity of a child, versus which then causes role confusion. And when this happens, then fidelity as a virtue is challenged. Have you seen people who might be cheating on their spouses, or people who go having a lot of flirtatious relationships as they grow up? They are not in one place. There are people who have struggled a lot in the age of between 12 and 19, because their identity was challenged, and therefore they grew into a role confusion. Many people who have father mother issues as a child might have a fidelity concern as a virtue. Then as we move on between the age of say 19, 20 to about 30, 35, which is young adulthood, you are young adult who has graduated and looking for fresh jobs, or maybe just have looked at fresh jobs, and then you are looking at having intimate relationships, more meaningful relationships. Then you're playing the I love you, do you love me game with each other. If you feel that you've been rejected twice, thrice, first time also, intense love. It is not love, by the way, it is intense attraction, which we label as love. And then we are saying, I love you. Love at first sight. Believe me, that's not true. It is only attraction as first sight. I find you attractive. I want to have sex with you. We don't want to say that to the other person. So we end up saying, I love you. Okay, so intimacy. And when my intimacy is challenged, if I'm not having that intimate relationship, either with my friends, with my family, when I'm saying intimacy, we are not only talking of sexual intimacy, we are talking of meaningful relationships with a lot of depth. Where have you had friends who you can hang out right from childhood to your college friends? You grow old also with them. There are some people who have friends they grow old with. Those are people who have very great intimacy, versus isolation, when I have had competition around me, when I see that there is a lot of competition. I like a girl, I like somebody, but somebody else also likes, my best friend likes her, and then there is a lot of intimacy issues, and I isolate myself with my other characteristics. I have seen a lot of people believe that, okay, love and all is not my cup of tea. I am very focused in my education, I'm very focused in my career, I'm very focused in my intellect, I'm very intelligent. These love things and all are very dumb. They're not meant for me. These are people who have had a challenge in intimacy, and therefore they go into isolation. And this is between the age of 20 to 35. And then they end up being lonely, they end up being alone, they use their intellect too much to rationalize a lot of things that are coming there in their experiences. Then when we move ahead, we are looking at age 35 to 65. Now, this is an age where you are settled in your career, you are doing well in your career. And if you see, this is a huge age of growth. This is an age where I am either okay with where I am. I'm okay. I don't need to grow. I am doing well. I have my needs getting fulfilled. So my growth has stopped, because also this is an age where your parents are getting older and you tend to take care of your parents. You take a back seat and your responsibilities take a forefront. Between 35 and 65, you've already become a parent. And because you are a parent, you are looking at two generations of children. One is your own biological child, and one is a set of your parents who are now become children, and who are acting like your young ones, but don't want to give up their control over you. And that is what we struggle for. And generativity is a concept. That means I am generalizing, I'm growing, I'm becoming big in my wisdom, my knowledge, my emotional intelligence, and using my intellect to become rational. And if I'm not able to do this, I will slowly stagnate. If you see many housewives or many homemakers in this age group, they begin to feel stagnated. They feel there is no purpose left to life. Oh my God, what am I doing with my life? Abhi to sab khatam ho gaya, bacche bhi bade ho gaye. You will hear this kind of conversation in your environment with this kind of age group, where people don't want to pursue their hobbies. They don't want to, let's go for a picnic. नहीं, कहाँ, घर आके मुझे ये करना है, घर संवारना है, फिर ये करना है. They don't even want to go on holidays. They don't want to dress up, and they don't want to go out. And that is where they will stagnate. And the virtue of care first for myself. Like I said, I can't give what I don't have. And care is a virtue that you will develop in this age. You will start to care in the true sense. Care empathetically, not out of responsibility. Often we care out of responsibility, but this will come genuinely if you are able to balance between generativity and stagnancy. And then, of course, when we come to an age of retirement, which is 65 and above, that is when I have to let my ego disintegrate. I have to integrate my ego and disintegrate the negative aspects of my ego. When I do that, I have to let go of a lot of things. I have to be able to forgive people for the wrongs I perceive they've done to me. I have to be able to look at a higher purpose of why, because now I'm not contributing to society as much, but I'm contributing to myself, my spiritual growth, or me embracing my spiritual self, which then makes me wiser. And if my ego integration and wisdom are not balanced well enough, then what I experience is despair. Now, if you see, the colors again are that of the rainbow. Despair is in white because it is, if you lose blood from your cells, what is the color that you'll be? You'll be white. You'll be pale. You'll become white. And despair is the color that you will experience within your aura, your energy. When you are in the stage of generativity versus stagnation, you are care. If you see, care is love. It's pink love. It's not the red love. You love, you care because it really matters to you. If you look at the virtue of love, it's very passionate. It's like very strong. You're feeling very passionate about it. And that is why the color red. Fidelity is about yellow. It's about what you have thought about your identity versus role confusion. That is why the color yellow. If you look at industry versus inferiority, industry versus inferiority is the color of comfortable or jealous. You are either jealous of people or you are comfortable in that group, and that is why that dark green color. If you look at purpose, it is a lighter green because it is fresh. You are taking an initiative, it is fresh. If you succeed, you'll find a sense of purpose. If you go into guilt, then this green will die out. Fresh greenery will die out if not nurtured properly. Now, if you look at will is dark blue. Dark blue is when you are committed that no, I will do this or I will not do this. This is the commitment stage, and therefore will is in a darker blue shade. Hope is the beginning of life. You begin to hope that things are going to be okay. That is why we use these colors. And if you see your aura, when we scan our energies, you will realize that these are the colors of your aura. If hope is challenged, will is challenged, competency is challenged, fidelity, love, care, and wisdom are challenged. See, wisdom came now. It wasn't there. Despair was there. And now has come wisdom. Great. So, any questions about this stage? Otherwise, we are going to do a small meditation. Tushar, we
One
can close this
question, yeah.
PPT. Yes, please.
Could you give an example of caring out of responsibility and genuine caring?
Yes. So caring out of responsibility comes from she's your mother, I need to take care of her, she's done so much for you. So others have implanted these thoughts in your head and you're doing it out of duty.
Okay.
When it comes out of genuine love, no matter who this person is, you understand their viewpoint, you are empathetic towards them. And when you are empathetic towards them, you are showing concern and care because they matter to you, not because they have given birth to you, or because Tushar, can you just close everything? I don't want this coming up here. Your screen is just still being shared. Close the screen and then do what you have to. Okay. Close
Okay,
that
sorry.
screen sharing. You're still screen sharing. Okay. Tushar, you're still screen sharing.
Yeah, Zoom
Yeah,
is
yeah.
difficult to work with.
Okay. So when you talk of care, you can care for a person not because they are a relative or because you're bound to them by blood, but you care for them because they really matter to you. Their opinion matters to you. Their relationship with you really matters to you. And that care comes out of genuine care and concern and not from responsibility. Okay. Any questions that we have for what we discussed? Yes, Siddhant, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so the phase of love, right? Um, are we just talking about love with partners or love with people in general?
People in general, just people. You have best friends, you have this one person you go running to when you want to gossip or when you want to share something. You are just best buddies, you don't feel judged by these people. A set of college friends that you meet up and you can just do ha ha he he, have fun, and you can really truly share your concerns and your feelings. That is love. Love otherwise is very conditional. If I love somebody as a partner, then I want that partner to be somebody I'm falling in love with. That means there are two thoughts that come to my head. When I say I'm falling in love, you are falling in love. When I say I'm growing in love, you grow in love. You grow because the love that you share probably for your family or for your best friend or for a relative is basically they help you grow. You and the friend grow together in that relationship. But when the usual connotation is अरे वो प्यार में गिर गया, yeah, I fell in love with this person. That means you had to compromise with your value system. You had to compromise with so many things to be with this person.
I have one more question,
Please
if that's
ask.
fine. Um, so I'll give myself as an example, right?
Yes.
There are times that, let's say mom is shouting at me, right?
And why
And
say mom shouts at it's mom's ka hak to shout at the son.
correct.
Uh-huh.
But that's not the point. The point is that when, like, from that emotion, right, another emotion comes up, right? It's like, for example, so let me give you a very simple example, right? Mom was shouting at me for studies,
Hmm.
right? I'm pretty sure everybody has experienced this. क्यों पढ़ाई नहीं कर रहे हो, क्यों marks बुरा आ गया है, वो सब. But from that, like, I don't know whether it's anger or challenge of competence, right? It wasn't in the phase of competence, but it built that competence into me. So is it that those phases are very rigid in there, or they're very fluid? Because what
No,
I've realized
like I said, Siddhant, the seed has to be sown in that age group, and then it takes up other matters. It takes up other situations. Your reactions, your feelings, your emotions about that shouting define how you will cope with something like that in the future. Your coping strategies, your defense mechanisms will be defined by that action in the future.
okay,
Whenever you feel that I'm being shouted at by someone who's important and significant to me, the coping mechanism that you picked up will then be defined. Like if your boss shouts at you, then you'll become more competitive if you take his authority. And if you believe your boss is a good boss, then you'll take his authority and then you will do exactly what you learned to cope with your mother. The competence is something that you're saying, okay, you're shouting at me for being incompetent. I'll prove to you that how competent I am. And that is the kind of life you will begin to live. You'll keep on proving yourselves in areas of life just because in the base level that is the competence that you picked up.
But is there a difference between that competence and the one that is generated at the earlier stages?
See, competence is a virtue. Wherever you are competing or wherever you are trying to prove your competence, the seed was sown then. How big a tree it has grown will define on your experiences. But otherwise, you will definitely be a person who has been impacted by the shouting, and therefore you have said, okay, I am going to show you how competent I am. And then you keep proving yourselves incompetence in every area of your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, Vidushi, you had your hand up, then goes Tripti, then goes Rishti.
I'm grappling this right now in my life. So I've been going through a situation with my daughter who's now 11, who's not liked in her class at all. And it's not a competitive school. You know the school she goes to. It's not a competitive school. So kuch exam nahi hote, but just generally 24 kids are up against this girl, and it's also confirmed with the teacher. The teacher feels it's the phase they are in. This is the phase. They don't like each. They don't like each. They're going through that puberty wala phase, and they are going through these isolation moments where they're very confused about themselves. Individually, also they are going somewhere else, and internally also they're going through a lot because of the hormones. And yes, competitiveness bahut hoti hai. Isliye if somebody is doing well in class, like I can't say she's excellent, but she's a good student. And in other classes outside the school also, she's doing well. But she's not been able to find a friend group that is stable. So बेचारी बहुत lonely feel करती है. So 8-9 hours she's lonely, and when she comes home and I check her for something or I'm not okay with something, the reaction I get from her is a lot. Like it's something I can't deal with. And then when I shut down and I figure out कि मुझे क्यों ऐसे बात करती है, because I'm not a horrible mother to her. It's not like I'm anti her or something. It's coming from the space that you don't check me because I'm already being attacked for 9 hours in school. So how do I handle this?
My first question to you, Vidushi, is when you know that she's in a developmental age and she's being isolated for whatever reasons. My question to Vidushi is why insist that she should go to that school only?
Because when we discussed with the teacher, they said, आपको क्या guarantee है कि इसके ये issues उसको next school में नहीं मिलेंगे?
ये issues वो next school में नहीं होने के chances कम 50-50 है, but यहाँ पे 100% है. Think about it.
Thank you.
If you keep her here, 100% there is an issue here. In another school, in another setup, probably the chances are different. And the point is, the second thing that comes to my head is that if you are checking her out when she comes back from school, are you checking her out from a place of authority or from a place of compassion and empathy? Are you sitting with her and understanding what she really feels? Or is it a tick mark on your list as a mother that, okay, I checked on my daughter what was happening in school, aaj kya kiya, isne kya bola, usne kya bola? Are you using her as a gossip sharer, or are you actually sitting and trying to understand how she truly feels and empowering her to realize that probably these set of children are messed up and not her? Are you empowering her in that area of life? That is a question you need to reflect upon.
Yeah, it's a mix of all. But her reactions to me are on very small things. Like if suppose she's not finishing a meal and she's cheating that meal because she's not a good eater, the reaction I get is very harsh. It's
Correct.
too much.
Correct. But then can Vidushi just sit with her and ask her, what about this meal is she not enjoying? Why is she cheating on that meal? Is she looking for a comfort meal because there is no other happiness in her life and you are also putting in healthy food on her plate that she's not enjoying? Why should life have so many rules? And what guarantee that tomorrow my life is going to turn out perfect according to you, not according to her? Vidushi, whose life? Who should define that perfection?
She.
Perfect. Now think about it. Trupti, your question.
Thank you.
So basically, after having this discussion, there are some sense of realization I get, and sense of realization that
I got that. Brain scramble ho gaya is what I feel.
egg scramble से brain scramble हो गया है. So I want to know कि from childhood I always had one best friend. You know that since from the kindergarten, school, then college, then whenever I change my school, change my place, I had only one best friend. There was in the college, there were two friends who had a fight कि Trupti मेरी best friend है, Trupti मेरी best friend है. But I couldn't
Trupti knew
justify
who,
them.
yes, Trupti knew
Yes,
who her best
I
friend
knew
was.
whom I yes. But recently, I lost my very best friend. And after that, now I have realized that I am not able to have that comfort
With
which I
anybody
had,
else.
yes, with anybody else. So now this is already done. This damage is already done to me, maybe because of my upbringing or my behavior. So now, how to come out of this?
Great question. The point here is that where, when I see somebody saying that I had a best friend and I have two best friends, I have 20 best friends. My question to you is, are you your best friend first? Because when I am this only person who's going to be there with me for the rest of my life. So I can have best friends outside of me, but I should be my best friend first. Am I really compassionate with myself? Do I understand myself the way my friend understood me? Did I have to take my problems outside of me so that my friend could understand and comfort me? Can I comfort myself in that manner? Because when you can comfort yourselves, then you don't need a best friend. You can have one, that's a privilege. But then that does not become a need, because a need is something that if you don't have, you will not survive. We spoke about this last time. That if a need is something that if I don't have, I will not survive. So then why is it that my survival is dependent outside of me and not inside of me? Why am I not able to make myself my best friend? Why is it that I need somebody else to become my best friend? So to begin with, probably it's a good idea to stand in front of the mirror and look at that person in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? I've discounted you for a very long time and I'm ready to befriend you all over again.
Yes, I
And
will.
once you begin to do this, you'll find your best friend there soon. Okay, Trupti?
Yes, yes.
Great. Drishti, you're next. Vidushi, you have one more question? Okay. Yes.
For me, the question, I felt like these age groups are very compact and justified. Like, this is the group you love, this is the group you have this issue. Like, I felt it's very compact. And it was confusing for me to understand, like, what if a person is adopted? What if a person grew up in multiple foster cares? What if a person...
The age group still is the same and the same set of feelings, because at the root level, we are very, very similar people.
But if...
Is it a hypothetical question or a real question?
It's a real question. My understanding is you're saying love is at the age of 19 to 30 or 35.
No. Love is a virtue. I didn't say love is at that age. I said love is a virtue that you will develop. I am not saying love as a
falling
feeling.
In love since they were 12?
They are falling in love from the age 3, 2, 1. You love your mother first when you are born. You trust her the most. That is when you love her the most. You are love as a behavior, love as an emotion, and love as a virtue are three different things, girl. When I said love, yes. So love as a behavior, I will not survive if my mother doesn't feed me. I will not survive if my father doesn't comfort me. That love comes from my survival need. So it is, I will love you because you do so much for me. That is the need. The second one is the love as a emotion. Emotion is actually what happens is we overlap love and attraction. When we are in pre-teens, we have attraction, because of our hormones. And then we begin to use the word love because we were told we can't say that I'm attracted to you or I desire you. These were negative connotations or negative words that we were taught. So what we are telling ourselves, I love this person. Love is the most abused word, according to me. Love as a virtue, Drishti. I can love my phone. It's inanimate. I can love the tree. I can love, if love is a virtue I have developed, I can love everything not for the conditions, but for what it is.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. No, it doesn't make sense to Pratik. Yes, Pratik, tell me.
I guess that this is just something you understand with the experience, but okay.
Okay. What was it? What is your question? Don't resign and give up on me.
No. My question was actually something else, right?
Hmm.
Like related to what Vidushi asked about her daughter, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes you are going to, find yourself in situations
Pratik,
where.
for a change, can I request every one of us that when we are talking about something, can we take responsibility for our questions and use I instead of you? Don't blame your problems on me.
Okay. All right. So my question is, suppose I find myself in a situation where there is hostility, right?
Hmm.
Like we found out Vidushi's daughter is facing.
Hmm.
At what point is there something like you have to learn to deal with in life?
Hmm.
Or is it something you need to change your environment? Like, do you change your environment or do you develop resilience through the experience?
Okay, so according to psychology, according to psychological terms, we say that a child begins to become logical around the age of 8. Till that time, everything is illogical for the child. That is why fairy tales work up to that age.
Okay.
After that, fairy tales stop working. So once that happens, I have to build my child's resilience to deal with the environment. I have to help my child become resilient to the toxicity of the environment. However, I also have to consider the age and the strength and the resources my child has to deal with these environmental issues. And if I feel that my child doesn't have those resources and I can't provide my child with those resources, then can I change my child's environment if it is within my concern? Can I do it for my child? Can I provide the required environment? I'm not just picking up a child and putting him in another environment to rescue the child. It has to be a very wise decision. Can I empower my child to deal with the environment? And if I'm not helping the child deal with the environment, then because it is beyond me, I can't tell my school that, okay, you need to change the attitude of the children. My child's self-development is taking a toll or esteem is taking a toll. Then probably looking at a school that is necessary for my child's growth, where he or she might be more equipped. Also understand that the other children in the school play a very significant role in development of self-esteem. If the children are always going to shun you for the choices your family has made for you and are not going to accept you for that reason, then you might as well change your ideas of the ideal school for your child.
I see.
I have chosen the school for the child because I thought it was ideal. But if my child is not going to grow adequately there, I need to change my ideas. Am I fulfilling my personal ego of my child goes to this school and then let my child suffer is my question. This is not necessarily about Vidushi. I'm talking about in general.
In general, right.
Yeah.
My question was in general.
Yeah. So it was a generic answer also.
Right.
Okay. Any more questions or can we go to the meditation? Because Tushar has very strictly told me, Pallavi, only 10 minutes left. Any questions? Or because after the meditation, I'm not taking any questions. We will close it because the meditation has certain questions you need to answer. And I need your paper and pen ready with you. I need each one of you to have a paper and pen handy. There are questions while you are meditating. and I need you to answer those questions as soon as they come. And those questions will be reflection questions for all of you, and you will reflect upon it and probably discuss in the group after tomorrow. Today, whole day reflection. Don't jump to answers. Take time, reflect, and once you reflect upon them, then we shall look at answering them through the week. Does that make sense to everybody? Cool. Tushar, can we have that meditation, please? Put
Yeah,
everything
please.
away, sit upright, put your spine straight.
हम्म, 5 मिनट आए पाऊंगे तो ना.
Tushar, please increase the volume to full. Yep. What's happening, Tushar?
You need to share and then
Tushar, what's happening? Can anybody help? Does anybody know? Amol, do you know how to go about this? Because I can hear this thing, audio going on, but we can't hear it.
So you have to go on your video. You
Okay.
have to press the top arrow and then
Tushar,
click on audio, Tushar, and see if you're sharing the audio.
Just a second. Yeah, share. I'm on the share thing.
no, audio.
Okay.
And you'll have to see if you're sharing the audio. Like you'll have to, like there'll be options and you'll see that Zoom share audio, that thing.
Okay. You guys are not able to hear my
No.
audio?
No, we are not able to hear the
No.
audio at all. You have to share audio.
Maybe the audio can be shared on the group, something like that.
Just a second. Just a second. Share audio.
Drishti, Tushar, can you share the file with Drishti, and Drishti can share the file for us?
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. You can do that, right?
Yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
second.
Just share
Drishti,
that
I'm
file.
Yeah. Drishti, I'm sharing it with you personally.
They can't see you. I'm on mute.
Okay.
You're not on mute, Vidushi. Okay, now
Sorry.
you are.
Oh, stop share. Just a second, Drishti.
I'm sorry, guys. This is meant to be. This is our self-awareness, that we are so aware that we are not tech savvy. And Tushar is a typical technical guy. This has to fail today only.
No, but even Zoom is not a very user-friendly app.
That's not true.
It is true.
Pallavi, I want to confess something.
Yes, please do.
I'm growing in love with you.
Thank you so much, Trupti. I love you too.
Guys, please, just for a moment, please bear with me.
We are, Tushar. We are burying you only.
Okay. Drishti, where are you?
She's right here.
I can't find Drishti's number.
Just share it on WhatsApp with her.
It starts
I
with
did.
628. Yeah.
Yeah.
Send hi on
I'm-
WhatsApp.
You might have to give permissions to her to share the screen, because I don't think
Drishti.
anyone apart from host can share.
No, we'll allow her to share also. Tushar, make Drishti host also.
Yeah, God. Just a second.
I am more partial to Google Meets, to be fair, rather than Zoom.
No, I also am a
Sorry.
Google Meet person. Never mind, Tushar, you please share it because we are
Yes,
running. And
running out of time, I understand.
this was a meditation we were supposed to do last time. This is a meditation that's not working today. Are we supposed to be listening to this meditation at all is my question now. Two
Yes,
times.
yes, we will.
Divine timing for everything. Any questions about today's session? Praveen ji, how did you find today's session? Satish ji, how was today's session? Aarti ji, first timer, how was today's session?
Yeah, interesting, I would say. Lot of things to learn and know yourself.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Satish ji, Aarti.
Yes, quite interesting, and I am still little bit of confused in the sense
Okay.
that what happens is that person attains the age of say even 30, but mentally doesn't grow beyond even 10. In that case, what is the reason for such obstacle being created?
So there are two things. One, it could be a neurological condition or it could be a emotional condition. If it is a emotional or a psychological condition, then we want to understand that what happened with this child around the age of 8, 9, 10, because of which the child is not able to grow mentally. Physically, the body has grown, but mentally, the mind is fixated at the age of 10. And it could be a trauma, or it could be biological, or also something that we call, it's a very
Just to
interesting
share with you.
question. Mr. Bisay, it's a very, very interesting question because we had also decided that we will talk about the different healing modalities that are there. So sometimes there is a generational trauma. That means generationally a certain belief systems are being carried forward, and this one child in the family decides to take the brunt of the whole family. So it is also जसं मराठीत म्हणतात ना की पूर्वजांचं पाप पूर्वजांचं पुण्य आपल्या परिवारात आपण हे करतो. So it is coming from there.
Right. Okay.
So in all cases, it definitely can be addressed. It definitely can be seen की रिग्रेशन्स असतात जिकडे आपण रिग्रेस करून अंडरस्टँड करायचा प्रयत्न करतो. वी ट्राय टू अंडरस्टँड वाय थिंग्स आर डिफरंट. तसं.
Right.
Okay. Drishti, are we ready to share the meditation yet?
Yeah, we are. You'll just see
Okay,
my
great.
background because I don't have a music thing, but it's fine. I guess. Like if I play it, you'll just see my background, but I'll play
Okay.
the thing. You can ignore my background. Okay.
Go on. I need everybody to sit upright. Take a paper and a pen. And yes, Drishti, you have sharing rights.
You see it?
Yep. I can't hear it.
We can't
Can
hear.
You want give me 1 second. Then I think it's the audio that's
Yes, something to do with the audio, Tushar.
okay,
Definitely.
I figured it out. I figured it
Okay.
out.
When you're ready, close your eyes and take some slow, deep breaths. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then slowly exhale through your mouth. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. Use your breath to relax your entire body. Focus all your attention on your breath as you continue. This is one of the best ways to quiet your mind. Now, with your eyes shut, imagine yourself walking into an elevator and closing the door. Press one of the buttons in the elevator and go down 7 floors. Imagine you're going down deep into your consciousness. When the door opens, you see a beautiful sacred garden. Try to clearly visualize everything about it. Notice the trees, the flowers, the birds. What color is the sky? Is it a brilliant clear blue, or is it laced with clouds? Feel the air's temperature and the wind caressing your cheeks. How are you dressed? Are you wearing something you love? Imagine yourself at your best, looking your most attractive. Take off your shoes and feel the earth beneath your feet. Is it grassy or sandy? Is it dry or moist? Do you see a pathway of stone or marble? Are there waterfalls or statues? Are there any animals? Take a minute to look around in all directions and notice what else is in your garden. When you've finished creating your garden, create a sacred meditation seat where you can come to find all the answers you've ever desired. Spend a minute exploring your inner sacred place and make a commitment to visit it often. Return your attention to your breath and take 5 more slow, deep breaths. Bring yourself to an even deeper state of relaxed awareness. Now ask yourself the following series of questions and take your time in listening to your inner voice. After each question, pause the meditation, open your eyes for a moment, and write down your answers in your journal. The best way to do this is to write fast and to write whatever comes to mind. There are no right or wrong answers. Don't worry about what you are writing. Just let yourself feel and express whatever needs to emerge through this process. When you have the answer to your first question, close your eyes, return to your garden, and sit down in your meditation seat. Take 2 more slow, deep breaths before you ask yourself the second question, and so on. Take your time. Take a slow, deep breath in and slow exhale to release. What am I most afraid of? Slow, deep breath in, slow exhale to release. What aspects of my life need transforming? Slow, deep breath in, relaxing exhale to release. Slow inhale in, slow exhale to release. What am I most afraid of that someone else will find out about me? Slow inhale in, deep settling exhale out. What am I most afraid of in finding out about myself? Settling, inhale in, slow exhale to release. What is the biggest lie I've ever told myself? Slow, relaxing breath in, deep, relaxing breath out. What is the biggest lie I've ever told someone else? Slow inhale in, slow exhale to release. What could stop me from doing the work necessary to transform my life? When you finish this exercise, allow yourself time to write in your journal and express on paper anything else that needs to surface. Then take a moment to acknowledge the courage and hard work you brought to this exercise.
Those are the end of the questions. If you have written the answers to these questions, your homework for the week is to reflect on these questions and ask yourself, who am I being when I am being this answer to the question? Why have I chosen to be this person? And you have chosen. It's not by chance. Life has brought you here because you've learned to deal with certain things in a certain way. And these answers to these questions are hidden gems to self-awareness. You become aware of yourself when you have these answers. And throughout the week, use this journal to write down, why did I become this person? When did I become this person? What are the situations in my life? How small was I when I became this person? And please do not ever forget the empathy that you need for the most important person of your life, you. Often, it's very easy to be empathetic to others. When somebody says, you know what, I stole something or I lied, we are willing to forgive them faster than we are willing to forgive ourselves. We go into a state of guilt, shame. So why is it that I'm judging others with a different measuring spoon and I'm judging myself with a different measuring spoon? Why are the rules different for others and different for me? With such great thoughts, I had a lovely morning with all of you. End of today's talk. Hope to see you next week with another set of questions, another set of awareness, another set of thoughts that we are going to do. So last week and this week, we are still discussing cognition. That means very traditional psychological healing modalities like REBT, CBT. These are concepts that we are discussing. We'll slowly go to, we are still assessing our thoughts. We'll slowly come to assessing our feelings. Then we will come to assessing our energy. And then we will come to assessing our being as a whole. Okay, so right now, think about these aspects, keep reflecting on these aspects, and I will see you next week. Have a happy week ahead. See you soon. Bye-bye.
If
Thank
it's not
you.
too
Thank you
much
so
Thank
much.
troublesome, ask for the audio to be shared.
Siddhant, this is audio that I cannot share because it has copyright issues. So I
Okay.
can use it for meditations, but not definitely share it.
So can
Okay,
we get the
otherwise,
questions because we
Yes,
need
I
to
will
reflect.
type out the questions in the group.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.